So Tanmay, you're probably the most popular social media person in the country.
Not in the country, but sure. On this table, yeah.
I like how he knows it and he's still, like trying to figure out if he should contest it or not.
I don't want to be the most popular person on social media. It's too much.
Okay, tell us about how you got into this. Because honestly, we've been friends for so long, I've never asked you where you grew up. What was your first experience with social media?
I think, like everybody else, I did the Orkut journey. I had my MySpace phase. I had my Facebook phase. And then I got onto Twitter. And my first audience that I built was primarily on Twitter. Because at that point, like in 2009, I was on Twitter in 2009. I had just gotten into comedy then. So I used to wake up every day.
So was it comic content which got you your first audience?
Just jokes, right? I would spend 6 hours a day writing one-liners. In 2009, I remember there was a Commonwealth Games phase that was like really, really popular at that time. All kinds of, it was happening in India. All kinds of stuff was happening. So there were a bunch of the early guys. It was me, Rohan, Ashish was on it. We all used to write in general. I was writing for magazines. I was writing jokes. I was writing funny articles for Mumbai Mirror, etc., etc. And here came a platform where I could flex my writing. So I would just tweet from morning to evening on anything newsworthy. And if like a cricket game was on, or if there's a big news event, that means maximum engagement on whatever you wrote. So I got my first 10,000 followers.
Is that a good tip for anybody trying to get bigger? Like talk about...
Oh, I have a full presentation on this, but I'll give you a basic idea on what.
How does somebody starting off today become as popular as a fraction of us?
So it's just a general engagement tip, right? One, anything topical is always going to get engagement on any platform.
Describe topical.
Today the test match is going on between India and Australia. So a tweet about the test match will get massive engagement. A reel about the test match will get decent engagement.
Correct.
I uploaded a YouTube video today which is called The Indian Team is Savage. If it was 2 weeks ago, then the Siddharth Malhotra, Kiara Advani wedding would have gotten you engagement. Whatever is the topic of the day.
Okay.
That'll get you huge engagement. In fact, at the IIB, I remember PV Sindhu was either going to win gold medal or silver medal. We had memes ready for both, right? Because the trick was to put it out as soon as the event happens.
Is that the trick? The latency between when the event happens and when you post?
On Twitter.
Or is it also how contrarian your view is?
So I'm getting to that, right? So topicality is the number one thing, which if you can be topical, you'll get maximum engagement. Anything that becomes a popular sentiment. So, for example, any take that becomes really popular creates a market for the contrarian take automatically because everybody wants to be different.
Yeah.
So, if for a long time you keep saying dry Maggie is great, one day someone will get up and be like, actually, if you think about it, soupy Maggie is so much better, guys. And you will automatically have 10 people agree with it saying, yeah, you know what, that's true. Because people want to be contrarian. People want to be different. People don't want to fit into what everybody else is agreeing. The internet is a funny place. People share relatable memes to be different. Like it's such a paradox if you think about it. So everybody's sharing stuff. Everything that's on your profile is you building your brand. Right, including your opinion. So one is topicality will get you engagement. Extreme opinion about anything will get you engagement. High positive sentiment usually should give you engagement.
Does it?
Yeah, high positive sentiment. You see a lot of folks. If you tweet out saying I had a baby, right? That's usually if you tweet out a tweet thread about how amazing Rahul Dravid is, probably get engagement because a lot of people would want to agree with that. Nostalgia always gets a lot of engagement because
I would assume people come together on the negative a lot more than they would on the positive.
A lot more than the positive, yeah.
Right.
But if something positive happens and you join that bandwagon, you would naturally get engagement. Dogs, babies, that kind of stuff gets engagement. Nostalgia.
Also on dating sites, right?
Also on dating sites. Dogs, babies. Nostalgia.
How many are you on?
Are we talking about social media platforms?
Those are social media.
Yeah, those are.
I've never been on a dating platform. I don't know what that means. So I just
Okay, which one works best and which one for somebody who's as popular
I
as you?
mean, works for me. Everything works really
I
well.
can't believe you always somehow come.
You're trying to bait me, and I'm falling for the bait.
Or Tinder, Bumble, or is there something new?
There's nothing new, I think. I mean, Instagram is the new dating platform. right?
Really?
Look, any social media platform, if with decent network effects,
It was started
like
for dating.
sliding into your DMs became that phrase, right? Like, so any social media.
Dude, a couple hooked up on Brazil coup.
And you were watching?
No.
I mean the conversation between them.
It came back to us as, oh, I met this
we
guy.
met this girl on-
Who,
on
no,
Goa.
no, we weren't spying. We don't have access.
But
Extremely
that's a
secure.
very interesting use
Yeah.
case we should talk about live.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
a girl were to chat with a guy
Uh-huh.
or chat with another girlfriend of hers and say, this is what I look for in a man and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And a guy in another part of the city is chatting with his guy friend and
And
looking
saying
for
the
the
same.
girl, would you show this person the other person and recommend a
we
connection?
can't read DMs.
Right.
At least we can't.
Yeah.
This is example did, but
You guys suddenly look awkward when you're saying that.
we don't read DMs. But we don't. Yeah.
Right. But
So I come from a slightly different school. I believe that there's someone watching, and you got to be careful, right?
Yeah.
I
On the
don't
internet-
believe in messages that this conversation is encrypted. Because if you go to Google and say, how do I decrypt an encrypted message on platform X, you'll see like a zillion videos, which is so simple. You give me your phone, I'm going to decrypt all your WhatsApps, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. So I don't believe
You
in
actually
that.
wanted to say that.
No, I didn't. So nothing is really private, right? Like you're always leaving a digital footprint everywhere. And so, that's my school of thought.
you were saying something very interesting. How to get more
How to
engagement.
get
You
more
started tweeting 2009.
I started tweeting 2009. I got my first 10,000 followers.
Started
on
making
Twitter.
jokes.
Started making jokes. Then at that point,
Why
I
did
think
you think of starting to make jokes on Twitter? What were you doing at that time? Which city were you in?
I was in Bombay. I was just starting to do stand-up. I used to write for television. And
How old were you?
I was 23, I think. Yeah, 23. 24. This is 2009, right? I was 22. So I just started making jokes. I got my first 10,000 followers on Twitter. I scaled it up to about 100K. Then actually everybody at AIB met through Twitter.
Oh,
And
interesting.
in fact, a lot of comedians were born on Twitter by making jokes. Because 140 characters, the news became the most dominant thing on Twitter very quickly. Everybody discussed the news. So the hot topic of the day, whatever it is, you'd make jokes. I scaled that up to about 100K. Then AIB happened, and then YouTube was running a program called CIP, it was called, I think, Creators in something, where they asked us to get into the program and start making YouTube videos. And that was a foray into video. And then I got into Instagram much later. But one trend I've seen is that if you're really big on YouTube, you are likely also big on the other platforms, but not vice versa. Sometimes you could be really big on Instagram, but nobody follows you on YouTube or Twitter.
Right.
But if you're a massive YouTuber, you will see millions of, if you have say 10 million people on YouTube, you have at least a couple of million on the other platforms, even if you're not super active on it.
How did you go from starting to tweet, spending a few hours a day?
So YouTube had started a program. So we started making YouTube videos. Our goal was, how can we make stuff that's freely watchable on the internet that you couldn't do on television, which is what our brand of comedy also was. And one thing led to another. We started making videos, and this is pre-Geo times where getting 1 million views was like a big deal. I remember the first video that we made that got 1 million views. Barkha called us to be on her show, and etc., etc., etc. And then we were like, okay, what's the next comedic dream that we want to fulfill? Next, we were like, okay, we want to do odd shows in India's biggest auditoriums, go around the country. And then the following year that AIB started, we sold out City Fort Auditorium, 2,500 people. Then we were like, what else do we want to do? Then we were like, oh, we want to do a comedy roast that It's not been done in India. We've seen the Western roast, and we did that. That did 6,000 people at the Dome. We started ticking those boxes one by one by one. And one thing led to another, and today I'm here at Nikhil Kamath's house talking about social media.
Hi, I'm Nikhil. Thank you for watching the podcast. Let us know who your favorite guest has been and who you'd like to watch next. Thank you.